Okay. Right, so you couldn't be in each of the 3 parallel breakouts, but don't worry, we've got your back. We are going to give you initially just some brief impressions from our 3 rapporteurs, but even better, our fantastic visual facilitation team will be developing a visual for each of those breakouts. Of course, they can't have it done in 10 minutes, so we won't be able to show you those now, but they will be part of the materials that you can download afterwards, together with the other visuals from the plenaries. So let me invite up to join me on stage my 3 rapporteurs who've promised they'll give me very brief impressions of some of the conversations that happened in each of the breakouts. So let me invite, representing breakout number 1, Professor Eric Matisse, Head of Division for Bioeconomics at the Catholic University of Leuven. Please come and join me. Holger Thiel, Professor of Agricultural Economics and Statistics for Kiel University of Applied Sciences. And I also have Natasha Lovric, a senior researcher from the University of Eastern Finland. Now, I know we've got a very vibrant community, lots of conversation happening, and it's unfair to expect you to do justice to the conversations in just a few minutes. So all I'm asking for you is to just give us anything that bubbled up to the top, anything that you think that emerged that you think is worth reflecting right now. So let's start with the first breakout, and that was looking at enhancing resilience to risks and crises. So Eric, please go ahead and tell us what was the hot issue that emerged?
Well, the hot issue actually was already mentioned this morning. Actually, Anne, you remember the female farmer from the Netherlands that basically said, well, the key to resilience is diversity. And that came back in many instances in the session. Actually, the first message that I took away is that the amount of risk is increasing quite rapidly, and not only to climate change, and especially drought. I mean, we're again in the middle of one, but also due to geopolitical pressure. So that means that the extreme events are becoming the new normal. And what the bad news, of course, is that, well, it becomes impossible for society to pay for that in terms of compensations and indemnities and so on. And that led actually to the second message of the session. We need to protect, prevent, and prepare ourselves. Robustness means that we need to protect protective tools, but at the same time we need, of course, to think about prevention and about being prepared. And in that it was very clear that there are several pathways on that. Many people mentioned nature-based solutions. Also this morning we heard a lot of those, like crop diversification, cover crops, reduced tillage, increasing soil health and so forth, but also technological solutions. And that also made me think about Erika, the organic farmer this morning from Sweden, who also said the beauty of farming is it combines the more traditional things with the new things. So also we think about technological solutions like NGTs, the new genomic techniques, biocontrol, vaccination, don't forget about things like that. But also using the existing tools we already have, like future markets, contracts, and so on, to protect ourselves from price volatility. And then the third message is, well, we can't do this individually, we need to do this collectively. And collectively means different things. It means collectively, for example, in cooperatives, where we can organize solidarity and mutual funds, but also in supply chains, where farmers have to work with processors, with retailers, and so on. And also public-private collaboration is very important, so that everybody can take up their responsibility rather than shifting that risk around. And the final thing here, I think the ultimate challenge is to get the consumer or the citizen involved, and that he or she can be involved in various ways, as an eater, as an investor. But I think that was also the final takeaway. It's like, okay, how can we get the whole population of the EU involved in making our farming more resilient?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Eric. Holger, let me turn to you, because your brainstorm was looking at developing excellence in livestock production chains. So what was your hot issues that emerged?
Yes, thank you. I took my main assistant was a Mentimeter of our session, and The Mentimeter was the outcome of our suggestions of the group, and I give you some summary of that. The main answer or the main suggestion for improvements in the livestock in the future is the first was animal welfare, and the second was environmental sustainability, and the third one was profitability. So what we discussed in the morning was also in our groups these suggestions, and further on the next one was innovation. So we have to increase the innovation, and we have to increase circularity, and overall it was interesting that we are discussing a lot of diversity models in a diversity world in the European Union. And that was very interesting, and we heard Gillian from Ireland, a dairy farmer from Ireland, and she explained their model, and that was an extensive model with only one milking time per day. So, but that's a model. It's not for all regions of the European Union, but it shows a little bit the diversity we have in the whole European Union, and we need to be open-minded. That was also a discussion point in our group. We have to be open-minded and go further with our dialogue, and not dialogue like just talking about things and then go away. No, talking and being open-minded for new suggestions, innovation, and we need for all these things for the future. We need the more capital in the livestock sector, even if we want to improve the profitability for getting young farmers into the sector. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. Natasha, you were in breakout number 3, and that was looking at leveraging opportunities for farmers from the bioeconomy, nature, and climate protection. So, tell us what emerged from your conversations.
Indeed, yes. We tackled upon 3 subjects, namely the carbon credits and the carbon farming, and then the nature credits and the bioeconomy, and how this can be used as proper avenues for this implementation to happen to increase the likelihood of farmers and private forest owners to have a better future. And then when we were talking about the carbon credits and carbon farming, it was represented as a high potential pathway, that this is something to monetize the ecosystem services, and enabling both farmers, private forest owners, and foresters to gain direct financial rewards for the carbon sequestration, and then both contribute to the climate neutrality goals that we have set with the policies and the future ones. And then this future needs-oriented vision needs to take into consideration that, and then of course there will be some adjustments needed, because at present the word trust was mentioned is not there yet, especially not with the farmers. But it might be a good potential opportunity for the forest owners. And then this should be clarified and targeted dependent on expected national and regional targets. And then those come with these different verifications costs. So we were also talking, and some of the conclusions were that linking carbon credits with the CAP can really bring about a good avenue for a good coherence between the market-based and the policy-driven initiatives, if it's done in a proper way, especially through these eco schemes that could be implemented or aligned with carbon sequestration practices for good offsetting or sustainable offsetting. And then if we were talking about the nature credits, that was also seen as a transformative mechanism for financially rewarding biodiversity protection, potential both for the farmers and the private forest owners, but it could be, again, seen more from a sectoral perspective. And then they're already working in the practices that are bringing water retention, landscape restoration, biodiversity conservation. And then we concluded there is still a market in maturity here, so there is need for further innovative and scientific-based metrics for bringing about proper accounting for these nature credits. And then in order for this to happen, we need a good financing schemes and bringing acceptance and scaling these solutions. And then this could be done also through implementing national simplified harmonized systems. And advisories can also help in this context to tailor it to different management contexts as well as regional and national context. And then when we were speaking about the bioeconomy, it was seen as something that offers, of course, paradigm shift and an avenue to the current, to changing the current fossil fuel dependent economic system to something that is more sustainable. And in order to be widely scaled and accepted, this future vision really need to offer alternative to this existing competition between the sectors on the land use and the different practices. So this vision can offer also systemic implementable innovation that is stemming from the previous research that we already have from the previous Horizon programs, etc. And then offer this tailored multi-level governance frameworks for sustainable deployment across different sectors. And then also within the new CAP, this could be enhanced and targeted with the different parallel policies that are being developed with the EU bioeconomy strategy or the diligized EUDR. And then to offer cooperative business models, risk-sharing instruments, and then other forms of how to include primary producers into this higher level of value change. So this was in short what was delivered.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think you would agree. It sounds like each breakout had a very lively conversation and real opportunities to get in a little more depth than we can do in a plenary session. So thank you very much for sharing just a little bit of the conversations that you had. And as I said, the visual graphic that will be developed by the team for each of the breakouts will be available for you. So that will give you a little bit more information. So thank you for being our rapporteurs, and you can please now go and sit down. Now, I promised that we would share with you the graphics from this morning's plenary sessions, and I'm sure many of you will be taking pictures of the screen, which you did earlier, but like I said, don't worry, you will get these graphics so you can use them. But let me perhaps invite Julia's messages to be put on screen. Do we have Julia? Here we go. Is Julia available? I don't see her. Okay. So this is from the first plenary of the morning. And this is from the second plenary, where we talked very much about generational renewal. It was beautifully drawn. Thank you very much for that, Julia. And we will have one of these for each of the breakouts. And that's a great slogan there on the left. Enabling a love for life is the thematic message that's come forward on this. Can we please give a round of applause to Julia for the amazing work she's done there. Excellent. We are coming to the end of our conference, and I asked you, we have a poll going on, we have a word cloud. We asked you, what did you get out of today's conference? And let's now see up there how far we got. Can we see the Slido result, please, for the word cloud? So, can I speak to one of those points? Can you guess which point I'm going to want to say something about? Yeah, okay. I want to apologize. We did not meet the standards of gender equity or even gender diversity on one of our panels, and I would like to apologize in advance. We knew that was a problem. I can tell you invitations went out to a number of prominent women in this field, and they were either through scheduling or not able to come, and we ended up with an all-male panel. I apologize, that should not have happened. It was not our intention, and we did make every effort to do something different. But so we acknowledge your concerns. We managed to have a fantastic input from a young woman farmer, and the issue of gender was brought up, particularly, I think, in the second panel, where we heard about the difference in income streams and the size of farms that women lead, and that this is an issue to deal with. But thank you for raising your concerns. We see it, we hear it, and we will do better next time. So thank you for that. We need to talk about food. That's quite interesting because the conference was about food and agriculture, but clearly you want to have more conversation to take this further. Several people said right at the beginning that this is a dialogue, and this is at the beginning of it, so thank you for bringing up the elements that you wanted to raise. People also highlighted the positivity, that there is a need and an opportunity to get out of the silos. We wanted to talk more about, addressing different aspects like young people, making sure we reach out and touch the public and engage with them. So thank you. You can keep adding to this because all of your input is valuable. It helps us to develop the next stage of the dialogue. So thank you for sharing all of that. So the next thing we'd like to do is, I promised that after this bit was finished, we're going to offer you a drink. So the only thing between you and the drink is our next speaker. So no pressure at all to him. But I'm sure he's up to the challenge. Let me invite Mr. Pierre Bascoux, the Deputy Director General of DG Agriculture and Rural Development, to join us on the stage.
Thank you, Tasmin. And I'm sorry, another mail, but I will try my best, I think, to address that. So, more seriously, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, it is with great honor and I would say pleasure that I address you, I think, as we conclude, I think, this vision conference on shaping the future of farming and the agri-food sector. Over the course of the day, we have been privileged, and I mean it, I think privileged, to hear from a diverse range of voices and perspectives. And I have to say, and I guess I think you feel like me, I think it has been a very dense, a very intense, and a very stimulating day. Today, representatives from the European agri-food sectors, civil society, rural community, consumers, think tanks, academia, member states, members of the European Parliament have all enriched, I think, this dialogue, and I think dialogue is a word that is extremely important for us. And I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all the participants, both in person but also online, for their active engagement and contribution, which have been extremely valuable. And even, I think, on the Slido, it was very good, I think, to have a lot of feedback, even if some of this feedback have been a bit surprising. I would like also to especially acknowledge, I think, the participants of the YAF policy dialogue held yesterday, and because I think they continued to contribute, I think, to our discussion today. And lastly, I would like to express my special thanks to the organizing team, to you, Tamsin, and I think to all the people who have been working, I think, to make, I think, this event a success, and I believe it has been a success. I would like to say a few words, I think, about, I think, the policy. This vision that we have discussed, I think, today responds, I think, to a very challenging landscape, and it has been underlined at many occasions this morning. A landscape, I think, which is characterized by many geopolitical tension, difficulties, friction, many trade, I think, also difficulties, and an increasing, extreme weather events that is really testing, I think, the resilience and the long-term viability of our sector. The vision acknowledges, I think, the vital role of the agri-food sector in addressing societal challenges and emphasizing the importance of continuing granting, I think, support to farmers, and in particular to young farmers, but also to fishers and to the agri-food actors in producing safe and sufficient food, in protecting rural landscape, while also, and this is something that is important, respecting planetary boundaries. I have prepared, I think, in preparing, I think, this closing speech, I think a lot of takeaways. But as you mentioned, Tamsin, I think I realize I'm the last obstacle between you and the drinks. And I think you all deserve a good drink, so I will be very brief. I think this morning and this afternoon, I think we have heard a lot and a lot of things that do support, I think, the further development of a common agricultural policy, a strong policy, relying, I think, on two pillars, and a strong policy, which is there to support the viability and the long term of the farming community, of the agri-food sector, and to support, I think, its competitiveness, its resilience, and its sustainability, and this is extremely important. In the last few words that I would like to make, and I promise I will be brief, I would like also to say that moving from the vision, which has been discussed this morning and this afternoon, I think, to action, it is important to underline that the path forwards demands collaboration. It demands trust, and it demands dialogues among, I think, all the key stakeholders. And this is absolutely crucial, and the conference today is a very good example, I think, of this dialogue, and I think what it can bring, I think, in order to move forward in the future. Dialogue is essential, and together, I believe, I think we can build a sustainable and a fair agri-food system for the current generation and, I think, the next one. Remember, I think our vision includes both agriculture and the broader food system, and I would like to remind you that I think we will have a dedicated event later this year about, I think, food dialogue. So I would very much encourage you to continue these vital conversations and partnership, I think, beyond this conference, to bring, I think, this vision to life. And I heard, I think there was some words, I think, about, bringing love and to the farming community, and I think, and to the agri-food actors. I think this will be extremely important. So my last word, thanks again, I think, for your participation, for your commitment. Let's continue working together. Let's continue, collaborating, dialoguing, and I'm sure this will help us to ensure, I think, the long-term viability of our agri-food sector. So thank you very much, and have a good drink.
Thank you very much. I just have to say 2 words about technology to you. The first thing is someone here has lost their mobile phone. If it is you, it has been found, and it is at the security desk in the registration hall. So earlier this morning, somebody left a phone in here. We found it for you. It's at the security desk. Don't leave the building till you take it home. And secondly, the translation units, the headsets, are extremely expensive. So please make sure, if you've still got one, that you give it back as you leave. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to all our participants who joined us online. Thank you to all of you, and particularly to our interpreters, our technical and audiovisual team, and all the logistics team. And as representatives of the farming and agricultural community here today, in our speakers this morning, several of them mentioned that Ukraine is our neighbouring country. It's an important farming community and is a possible member state in the future. So I know that you will all want to express your solidarity with the Ukrainian farming and agricultural community and their nation. So Slava Ukraini! And now you deserve a drink. So please join us for a networking drink just outside this door.